This was probably like my third or fourth midlife crisis because my microphone, I'm pretty sure will pick it up if I just talk in a normal volume, but I'm Greek and I don't know how to do that. So you just have to take a position in your career with a little bit more responsibility, move across the country a few times, sell a couple houses, buy a couple houses, and all your gray hair dreams will come true. Hey, hi, hello, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Alex and you are here at the Farm D Reads, and today we are starting episode number 5 of my Book of the Month Backlist Challenge. Holy cannoli, I cannot believe it's already September. We're on episode 5 of this, and nope, that's too far up. That's just right. It's probably exactly where it was. Wow, we're doing it, guys. We're really doing it. I am just loving all of the interactions that I'm having and like new people on this channel because of this challenge, and I'm also really enjoying a lot of the reads that I'm getting through. So thank you so much if you're here because of this challenge. If you are, please let me know. Say hi down below. Let me know if you've picked up any of the books that I have read. But let's get to some housekeeping. So number 1, I literally last weekend, whenever it was September 1st, was like, yes, we're starting it today. We're gonna give ourselves a full 30 days like a normal person. No, that didn't happen. I forgot until like yesterday. So it's now Monday, September 9th. Which, considering that if hopefully August is up by now, it should be up by now. August, I didn't pick until like the 22nd. So we're doing a little bit better than last month. But on my July video, I believe I asked if I should add some of my new Book of the Month choices from recent credit into the choices or if I should just leave them alone. And as a full disclaimer, there were 4 new Book of the Month options that weren't part of the original challenge. I have since read one of them. So I did read All the Colors of the Dark by Chris Whitaker, and it was a 5 infinity bajillion star. I'm still thinking about it like a month and a half after I read it. Hopefully it is up in my August wrap up by now, but it was immaculate. You should read it. And I will link my August wrap up here, hopefully, so you can see my thoughts on it. But I do have 3 books left from that little, before I paused my subscription purchasing with some leftover credits, and I didn't tally it up per se. I just kind of kept my eyes on it, but it seems that more of you than less of you wanted me to add the books into the challenge in some way, shape, or form. So I was like, you know what, I want to read these books, so let's just put them in there. So I have now added Riley Sager's newest release, Middle of the Night. I have also added The Husbands by Holly Gramazio, which I got, this one is probably like 3 or 4 months ago at this point, and also this book right here, which I'm very excited to be putting in this challenge, and I really hope I get ASAP, which is The God of the Woods by Liz Moore. So something interesting about adding these 3 books to the challenge is that it has made me more excited because I actually just recently chose these options. God of the Woods was July 2024. The Husbands was April 2024. So yeah, that's about 3 and 4 months ago, 5 months ago, 5 months ago, whatever. And then this was an add-on, so I don't remember, but I'm pretty sure Riley Sager always comes out in July with his newest books. So adding these choices that I'm actually really excited about has like even more so reinvigorated me to continue this challenge. And now I'm low-key like, wow, I really want to like pick and keep picking and keep going and keep this momentum going because I really want to get to these books. So yeah, I think that means it's recording. Oh gosh, I hope. Okay, so as I'm adding these in, I want to tell you real quick what I just realized on this, and that at first I wasn't gonna bring it up because I thought I was crazy. New prescription as of today says I am, just a little bit. We're gonna get so much better though. I could have swore as I rewatch my own videos many times through editing and self-editing. I watch them even after I post them, after they've performed, whatever, you know, I want to see how they're doing and what people liked and what people didn't like. And I appreciate that there's people on this channel that are giving me feedback in a very, very, you know, constructive and polite and kind way. So I appreciate you guys. I was like, rewatching the videos, I was like, the spinner keeps going to the same section. So I'm getting different books, but I think I kept getting thrillers because I typed all the thrillers together. So it kept going to the same spot. And I just realized that I should have been clicking this. I should have been clicking this shuffle button this whole time. It's fine. It doesn't matter. So I was not crazy. It definitely was just going, like, it's a pattern. But if you don't click shuffle, so if you ever do something like this or use this wheel, please click shuffle in between your choices. Otherwise, it's going to do what it did to me, which was drive me to find a new psych provider. No, that was besides the point, but we did do that. Okay, let's do it. So this is September 9th, and we are picking our 5, sorry, I'm so zoomed in, Book of the Month choices. Hey, Craigie, for the Book of the Month Booklist Challenge. So let's just go. Oh, it's downstairs. And I still got a thriller. Across the table. I actually think this is nonfiction. We're gonna gather them all up at the end. It doesn't matter. Okay, so remove. So how many options do we have now? 47. Did I take off what I needed to take off? Okay, so we've got one. Let's see what else. I feel like I've been doing this challenge forever and there's still so many books left. Another thriller. So maybe it didn't matter. The Night Swim. Okay, there is a scary movie on Amazon. I think it's called Night Swim, and it's about a haunted pool, and it's really bad but really good. And I hope this book is just like that. I'll take really bad but really good. Okay, just stressing me out. Shark Heart. I have been waiting to get this one. I am so excited. I feel like September is gonna be, actually these results are gonna be all really good so far. We have a thriller, and I think The Killer Across the Table is the Mindhunter book. Malibu Rising, A Fate Inked in Blood. That's the other one that I have to take off. So this one is like more probably summery than September-y, but it's still warm, so it's fine. A Fate Inked in Blood was A Fate Inked in Blood and Leave the World Behind. That's what I have to remove. Because I read both of them by accident before/after. I started this challenge. Okay, last one. I'm so excited. I'm actually pumped for this nonfiction. 3 Women didn't go so well last year, but oh my god, I almost, I'm hanging on by a thread now. Out of the Woods is a summer camp themed book. I'm probably gonna get it in like December now. It's fine. It's fine. We're not gonna talk about it. I listened to you guys. Okay. Chestnut Man. Excellent. It did record. Okay. We've got all of our options. And I'm going to start here because I'm really pumped that I was correct. So The Killer Across the Table is by John Douglas and Mark Olshaker, and it is unlocking the secrets of serial killers and predators with the FBI's original Mindhunter. If you watched Mindhunter on Netflix, they made 2 seasons, which were fantastic, phenomenal, like 10 out of 10 TV about the actual first exploration into serial killers and the FBI's development of how they track serial killers because of this basically one guy. And this book is about the real life situation of that, the real life people involved. So, oh, back to the show. They made 2 seasons, which were amazing, and they set us up for the BTK killer and canceled the show. So Netflix, if you ever see this, please bring it back because it was so good. But this is the book concerning the real life individuals involved in that discovery and development of the FBI's serial killer tracking. So I'm really excited about this. I used to be really into true crime podcasts, and I do enjoy reading and learning about, I'm a huge horror fan, so I do dabble in some real life. I have cut down quite a bit. I was finding that true crime podcasts were triggering my anxiety, so I think this will be just fine, and I'm actually really excited about this. I think this is going to be a lot more interesting and consumable than Three Women Last Month was. So I think I may start with this one. I don't know. We'll see. The Chestnut Man is by Soren Sveistrup. Hopefully I didn't completely butcher that. Whoa, how old school. Wait, when is this one? September 2019. So exactly 5 years ago. Pretty much, I chose this book, and now we're gonna read it. This is a honker. Look at how thick this is. This is a horror. If you find one, he's already found you. A psychopath is terrorizing Copenhagen. His calling card is a chestnut man, a handmade doll made of matchsticks and 2 chestnuts, which he leaves at each bloody crime scene. Yeah, all right, I'm sold. This is such a long book. It looks like really short chapters though, so I'm into that. And I'm into picking up where I left off with this old school Blue Book of the Month bookmark. Yeah, this is honestly, I think, perfect. I was actually in the mood for a horror, so I'm really excited. I definitely think it's gonna be one of these two that I start with. So those are 2 options. The next is Shark Heart, a love story by Emily Havoc. I have heard so much about this. So this is, I believe, about a guy that turns into a great white shark. Something along the lines of that. And I don't particularly want to know too much more. The cover is absolutely beautiful, gorgeous, stunning in every way, shape, and form. So I'm really excited to read this one as well. This is a good month. I'm pretty pumped about this. The next book that we have is The Night Swim. This is by Megan Golden. I can't say that I've read anything by this author. This is not sounding familiar. This is in August 2020, so this is a COVID choice. That's always fun. I'm not gonna lie, I just noticed the face and that scared the shit out of me. Ooh, oh gosh, I'm so funny to myself. Okay. Wait. Does this book have an FBI agent in it that's listening to me? So the little blurb at the top says, a true crime podcast host covering a controversial trial finds herself drawn deep into a small town's dark past and a brutal crime that took place 3 years before. So this is about, this main character is a true crime podcaster, as we were just talking about true crime podcasts. I actually have been low-key thinking about maybe dabbling back into true crime podcasts. I know all the big ones, Crime Junkies, Morbid, like I listen to all of those. But if you have any like newer ones or more small ones, anything niche, let me know. Yeah, I don't particularly need to know anything more about this. The true crime podcast's girl's name is Rachel. She's a household name. She's going somewhere to do some sort of podcast and apparently is going to get embroiled in the mystery. So we can crush this one whenever the heck we feel like it. I'm not worried about it. We've got so much time. I have like 3 weeks. That's crazy. Okay. The last one is Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid. And I'm not going to lie to you. I love Taylor Jenkins Reid's what is it? 9 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo? Or the 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. That's embarrassing. I'm pretty sure the 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo is fantastic. Yeah, it's 7. And Daisy Jones and the Six, also fantastic. I have not read this one yet, and I actually don't even know what it's about. All right, 1983, Malibu, August. Okay, we might have to get to this one pretty soon because we're going into like not summery vibes. So what do we got? End of the year party, blah, blah, blah. There's a party with a bunch of rich people and then it gets set on fire. So that is my synopsis from the Dust Jacket synopsis real quick. Is there a bookmark in here? No. I love Taylor Jenkins Reid. Again, the 2 aforementioned books I'm a huge fan of. So looking forward to this. I think my reading order might be, okay, hold on a sec. I think I've got it. I think I've got this. We're gonna start with Malibu Rising because it's the most summery and I would like to go into the most not summery. So, hear me out. Here's my thought process. We're gonna do this one first because of the summer vibes. And then actually we're gonna do The Killer Across the Table because I very much want to dive into the nonfiction option and really give myself a fair chance at actually getting into it. So let's not save it until the last minute and try to cram and then DNF. And then I think I'm gonna do The Night Swim because Malibu, night swim, beach, water. You get where I'm going with this. And it's a thriller and I can read a thriller in 2 days easily. So we can get that one done. I then think I'm gonna do Shark Heart because I want to read it really, really badly. Perhaps the most out of all 5 of these choices. Also, can we look at the shelves right now? I don't know why they look so good to me. It's just red, but for some reason it's like picking up really nicely, like a pinkish red in the camera. I don't know, I'm into it. Okay, anyway, and then the last option that we are gonna do is The Chestnut Man by Søren Sveistrup, which is a stunning name if I do say so myself. I'm pretty sure I'm not saying that character correctly, but I'll Google it and say it correctly in the next update that I talk about this book. But this is a really thick one. I think it would behoove me to get through the rest of the pile before I take this one on. This is the longest. It's sitting at over 500 pages and it's the only horror. It's the most, I would say, appropriate for the fall season, September, because it's horror. I said it, so we have to do it. So here it is. This is the stack. I'm very excited for this September Book of the Month challenge. If you are as well, please stick around and keep watching because if you know, you know, it's about to get pretty hectic around here. Okay, but anyway, I am pretty tired. Shocking. She waits until, what time is it, 9? It's 8 only? Oh my God, it could be midnight. That's funny. Okay. As we know, I'm just a little sleepy baby, so I am, which one did I say I was gonna start with? I have actually not that many current reads, so I am going to, what am I currently reading? I'm reading Lord of the Rings. I'm on the Two Towers and Dungeon Crawler Carl, which I might have to make an entire video about that series and my new obsession with it. And oh, I started A Murderous Intention, I think is the name. It's Veronica Speedwell book 5 because I have quite the stack of books from the library that need to go back. So I'm gonna go ahead and bring this downstairs. 3 current reads. We can throw a 4th one on, and I think I will probably start this to get the momentum going, and I will check back in when I have an update. Okay, bye. I feel like a celebrity with this light that I bought off Amazon. Too blessed to be stressed. Okay, it is, we're here with an update. It is the next day and I did actually start Malibu Rising. So we're sticking to the plan already, which I'm very proud of. Let me turn this away a bit. Okay, I am on page 98. So I think this is like 300 and something pages. It's about 360 pages. What I can tell you off the bat that I am really enjoying is the readability of this. As usual with Taylor Jenkins Reid, she just writes characters and stories and plots and describes the environment in a way that you just get sucked right in. So, I mean, I read almost 100 pages in like maybe 45 minutes, if that. And I almost wanted to stay up way past my bedtime. I went to bed at like 11, which is later than I want to, but I just can't fall asleep. So I am really enjoying this. There are a lot of characters. So we begin with the POV of Nina, who is a famous surfer slash model, swimsuit model, I believe. And she's pretty famous. Her husband is a tennis pro, and he has just left her for Carrie Soto, who is another tennis pro. And a really fun Easter egg, I think, for Carrie Soto is Back, which is another book by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I have not read it. Tennis doesn't like super interest me, so I don't know if I really want to, but also depending on how I feel about this book and wanting to learn more about that Easter egg, I very well might. But so we get that POV first, and Nina throws this huge party at her huge Malibu mansion every year. This is the first year though after her husband has left her for Carrie, so she's feeling pretty down in the dumps. And then we start getting POVs of her 3 other siblings. So every chapter it was like introducing new characters, and I was like, oh, who will these people be? It's just more of her brothers and sisters. So she has a younger sister who is 20 named Kit. She has a younger brother named Jay. He is a famous surfer. So he is super popular in the surfing world. He travels the world doing surfing competitions, and their other brother, Hud, is a photographer that follows him around and captures all these like amazing moments of him surfing. So we get all the POVs of those 4 children, and it's all on the day that the party is going to happen and something bad is going to happen, aka they set the entire coastline on fire. So we are building up, and I do enjoy that tension. Nothing is super tense right now, but the way that things are going for certain characters, I can see how we are gonna have some, this is a pun, but it's worth it, explosions. Oh, and we're also getting POVs in the past, in the 1950s and 60s, of all 4 of these kids' parents, Mick, Reva, and June. So Mick was a famous singer and not great to his wife so far. The amount of characters and POV switching and timelines is a lot, I think, for just like what looks to be a pretty casual summer beach read. But again, as usual, Taylor Jenkins Reid, she just knows how to fool you into thinking that this is gonna be just, you know, I don't know, like a basic story. This is already so much more intricate and involved than I thought it was gonna be. So I'm really enjoying it. I don't know what I want to do. So I finished The Two Towers last night, which is book 2 of Lord of the Rings trilogy. I finished it pretty much right at the exact same time I was finishing watching the movie, the extended version, which only took me 4 hours to do. So I had a pretty good Tuesday. It is now Wednesday, and Allie and I are not going to start Return of the King this week. We're going to start next week because I think she has a wedding this weekend, so we're not going to do that. I have like 4 other current reads, so I'm reading this. I am also listening to Out on a Limb by Hannah Bonham Young, which is incredible and has almost brought me to tears like multiple times, so highly recommend. I'm also reading the 3rd Dungeon Crawler Carl book on my Kindle. Oh, and I am probably like 30% into... Ooh, I'm glad there wasn't a cat there. That was 2 Kindles, dude. I just got the new... How does this happen to me every time? I had to get a new phone, okay? Because what had happened was the iPhone that I had, I purchased before I really was like into shorter form content. I like film a lot more on my phone for reels on Bookstagram, which at the Farm D Reads, putting it on the screen, putting it down below, give me a follow. I ran out of storage, so it was so bad that I wasn't able to view my older photos because they wouldn't like download from my own cloud. And then I was not, like, voicemails that I was getting for work related things were not downloading, so I was like, this is a problem. So I got the iPhone 15 Pro Max. It's so heavy and so much bigger. I had just like the regular iPhone 13, just like a normal size phone, and this is massive. Also, I got this case on Amazon. Big fan. I need something to hold it. I had bought one of those like sticky things, but it doesn't work. I think I need to get like a MagSafe sticker and then do that through the case. But anyway, whatever. I'm bringing all of this up because I went on my AT&T and I knew that the new iPhone was coming out, but my AT&T was like, pre-order the new iPhone 16, and I was like, oh my god, you just got a new phone. Oh, I got a terabyte of storage on this, and it is so satisfying to see how little my 26,000 photos and videos. Listen, I have been carrying this phone around on the same iCloud and the same all whatever since I was in college, which was 2010, okay? 14 years ago. That's a long time ago that I was in college. So just picture all the pictures that you have from your college days, okay? And I've been carrying this around. It's just too much to deal with at this point. So I'm just gonna keep it forever. But anyway, I don't care that I don't have the exact brand new phone, but I just thought it was funny. And also I wanted to show you guys my case. I'll link it down below. I got it on Amazon. I usually get loopy cases, but I was really intrigued by those little sticky things so you can like put your phone up on a mirrored surface, but it didn't work. Anyway, my camera's gonna die. I will check back in when I have done some more damage on Malibu Rising, okay? Bye! Hello guys, I'm back. It's Saturday and wow, what a week. It was a good week, but I did not do very good at updating or B-roll as per usual. But I did finish Malibu Rising, so book one down. And it's only September 14th, so that's pretty good. So I talked a little bit about what this book was in my last update, I believe, but just to recap, this is following 4 siblings, and the main sibling, well, the main character is Nina, who is a famous surfer slash supermodel. They came from a pretty broken family, which we do get snippets of their parents back in the 50s and 60s as they are meeting and getting together and getting married. And so the synopsis on the dust jacket says, it kind of makes it sound like the fire that occurs at this party that they have every year is the main focus of this book, but I would disagree wholeheartedly. I think that the main focus of this book is the siblings, their relationships with one another, their history with their parents, especially with their dad, and also their mom, who does deal with alcoholism, which is something that I unfortunately do know a little bit about. Dealing with a parent with alcoholism can be and is incredibly challenging, especially if you have to deal with it when you're younger and you have siblings and other family members that you have to take care of. So the first half of the book is taking place during the first half of the day of the party. We get POVs from our siblings and also those flashbacks to the 50s and 60s concerning their parents. And then the second half of the book is the evening portion, or like the second half of the day when the party actually occurs, and then, you know, the events that happen thereafter. And that's when the book lost me. I felt that the second half was so jarringly different. A character showed up and I went back multiple times, could not figure out when he showed up. I was like, what is he just appeared? And the tone was just, and I get that like part of it has to be that way because this is the climax, but the climax is like an entire half of the book, so it's also a very slow burn. There is some tension, but not that much. I don't know, it was a little bit more slice of life than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to have some, I don't know, like Evelyn Hugo twists, or I don't know. I loved Evelyn Hugo. I loved Daisy Jones and the Six. This one was okay. I gave it 3 stars on Goodreads, but I'm thinking it's like more 3.5 because it was very easy to read. It was a quick read. It only took me 2 days and it was overall enjoyable. I just don't think there's anything that special about it. The siblings are really good characters and they're well written and they have a really interesting dynamic with one another, but by the end of the book I was just like, okay, so, you know, I don't know, I just didn't connect to it like I connected with some of other Taylor Jenkins Reid's books. So 3.5 and probably not going to keep, but we'll talk about that at the end of the video. Let's all hold our applause till the end, but I did also start The Killer Across the Table, which is unlocking the secrets of serial killers and predators with the FBI's original Mindhunter. This is by John Douglas and Mark Olshaker. John Douglas is the actual Mindhunter, like who the show is based off of, and this book is His retelling of 4 different interviews he conducted with serial killers when they were in jail, and his kind of analysis of them, how they have helped him create the guidelines for serial killers that the FBI still uses today, and also delves into some of the crimes that these serial killers have committed. So it is true crime. It can be gory, it can be gruesome, it can be tough to read. The first story was about Joe McGowan, who R-worded and murdered a 7-year-old girl that was selling Girl Scout cookies at his door. That also, he was a teacher in the town. So it's actually really gripping. I am almost halfway done. I'm on page 134, and I just got through the first story, which was that aforementioned Joe McGowan, and this second one is getting pretty crazy, and I am gonna go downstairs, take some muscle relaxers because my back is absolutely killing me today, which is kind of why I'm talking like I'm exhausted. Just my back is hurting, and I went to the library real quick and I was just like, I don't want to do anything. I'm gonna go home, I'm gonna take some meds and chill out. So I'm going to bring my read downstairs and cozy up, maybe get some B-roll today, and I'll be back with another update soon, hopefully. Okay, bye. Hello. It is later this eve, Sunday still. Didn't do great on B-roll, but that's because I napped again because I took more muscle relaxers. But my back feels so much better. So like just reading and writing and napping and taking the weekend to like bring the inflammation down and stretch while my muscle relaxers were doing their thing. It was the right choice. So it's like 8 o'clock right now, and I probably won't update again before I go to bed, so I wanted to pop in and do an update now because I probably am going to finish The Killer Across the Table. And I wanted to update because I'm on the last story of the 4 serial killers that he interviews, and the last one I just thought was so insane because it is a guy who keeps getting jobs in hospitals in the 70s very easily, like as an LNA, a CNA, a nurse's aide, janitor, you know, etc., etc. And his name was Donald Harvey. He is one of those serial killers that uses the healthcare system to get away with his crimes, and obviously as a pharmacist that is so interesting to me. He does it in some really disgusting and torturous ways. Please stop listening if you don't want to hear about any true crime type of descriptions from this book, because I am going to, you know, mention 1 or 2. There is an instance where one of his victims, he inserts a larger catheter than what's indicated and then puts a needle through it, and the gentleman internally bleeds to death. Like, who thinks of something like that? That is so sick. So this book is true crime for sure, and I know I mentioned that I haven't been doing a ton of true crime as far as like podcasts and things like that, but this is really interesting, and it's not to a level that I can't handle, but do look up what true crime entails, trigger warnings, things like that, because this can get pretty detailed and uncomfortable at times. So I'm on the last serial killer. I don't know who it is. I think I have like maybe a little less than 100 pages, about 80 pages or so. So I think I'm gonna hunker down for the night. I do have 1 more dose of meds to take, which I'm not complaining about. I'm probably gonna pass out. Hopefully I get through this. So if I get through it, I will update tomorrow, and that will be 2 books down for the challenge. And I'm actually really enjoying this. I think it's sitting at a 4-star right now, and I probably would keep it on the shelf. I don't know if I would necessarily reread it, but I do enjoy having a little nonfiction section on my shelves, and I would be pumped to put this there. So if you are interested in true crime, if you like true crime podcasts and you're looking for like something a little different to consume, I would go ahead and say that true crime books are really awesome. And I think that I may, well, awesome and, okay, let me backtrack that. True crime is not awesome. True crime is horrible and horrific, and I always am in favor of, you know, bringing light to the victims and not glorifying serial killers or anything like that. I am interested, I always have been, in serial killers. I wrote one of my senior like high school AP English papers on serial killers, so it's always been something, it's always been a topic that has fascinated me. You know, growing up in the 90s, you know, you lived through Columbine and you lived through all of these like horrific, huge things, and it's almost, I think, something that kind of gets ingrained in us one way or the other, that we have this fascination with the human perspective and human nature, that, you know, we want to know why. How do people, you know, I don't have any of the urges that the people described in this book have, but I'm sitting here just gobbling up hearing them talk about it. It's just, it's chilling. It really is. So I think this may be unlocking a new genre of nonfiction that I can explore. I do love nonfiction. I'm actually really excited that I finally got one. So September, better late than never, first nonfic of the year. We'll see if I get through any more. I don't think there's any more nonfiction on this challenge after this. Yeah, this was it. So everything else is like fantasy thrillers, a couple of romance in there, literary fiction. So I'm excited. I am gonna take my meds, get some candy, and finish this book, and we'll talk tomorrow. Okay, good night, bye.
His help. Titus walked over to his SUV and slid behind the wheel. He started the car and immediately put it in gear. There was paperwork to fill out. There were phone calls to make. He had to notify Michelle's parents. He was going to do that personally. He couldn't hand that off to anyone else. He hoped to God he could get to Calvin and Dorothy before they saw the news online, or even worse, someone called them. He'd have to find out who notified about Spearman. The school would obviously be closed for the day, and probably the rest of
Hello, sorry for the 85 different types of lighting happening right now. Happy Monday. I wanted to check in real quick after work to talk about Killer Across the Table. I did indeed finish it last night, like I said I would, and I thought this was really good. I gave it 4 stars on Goodreads, but feels more like a 3.75 feels right to me. It kind of lost momentum for me after the second to last story. Okay, so basically the very last about that serial killer was meh. So this was about a man named Todd Kolep, and he murders some people but then also kidnaps a woman and keeps her in a storage container for quite some time after she kills her boyfriend, and then ends up killing, no, that woman lives, I think. Does she? Awkward. I'm pretty sure she lives. Anyway, that story kind of just lost me at the end, and I've already forgotten everyone's name as per usual. Will I think about this for the rest of my life? Probably not. Do I think it was really interesting? Yes. Some parts were really dry, and I don't love the writing style. It felt choppy, but I don't know if that's just like true crime writing in general, because this is my first time reading true crime nonfiction, or if it was the authors, but 3.75 for a nonfiction feels good, and I do think I'm gonna keep it on my shelf. I really enjoyed Mindhunter, the show, and I feel like I want to rewatch it now that I read this, even though I'm gonna get high-key mad all over again that I don't get the BTK season. Thanks for nothing, Netflix. But another book down for the challenge. I would say that if you are interested in crime fiction, this would definitely not be a bad addition. It does get pretty detailed in the actual investigatory and profiling process. I don't think it's inaccessible. I also don't have anything else to compare it to, because this is, again, my first foray into true crime nonfiction, but I really enjoyed this, and the show, even though we only got 2 seasons on Netflix, is fantastic. I highly recommend that you watch it. Like I said, another book down. So here we are, September 16th, and I have 3 books left. 15, so I have 14 days to read 3 books. Relax, guys, I got this. Okay, so I do think I'm going to continue with the plan and pick up Shark Heart by Emily Habak. I love this cover. The teal is not my favorite, but the flowers are just perfection. So this is chunky at first glance, but a lot of it is pages like this with not a lot of text. So I may very well fly through this pretty quickly. All I know about this is it's about a man in a relationship and he starts turning into a great white shark. I think it's gonna be really weird and I'm into it. So I'm very excited to read this. This is from 2023. This was a Book of the Year finalist, so I think that's how I ended up picking it, because if you get to the end of the year and you don't want the one that wins, you can pick from the finalists. So I think I had read whatever the winner was last year. I don't remember. But anywho, I think I'm gonna start this tonight. What am I also reading? I actually only have 2 other current reads besides what I'm doing for this challenge. One of them is All the Sinners Bleed by S.A. Cosby. I'm listening to it on audio, and honestly, I want to go to Barnes & Noble and buy it and binge it and finish it. It's so good. I have not read anything by this author, but Razorblade Tears by S.A. Cosby is on the Book of the Month list. It's sitting right there somewhere. So I'm actually really hyping myself up to read that by reading this other book by this author. It's fantastic. It's so good. It is about a sheriff in a small Virginia town named Titus who has to deal with the fallout of a school shooting that goes way deeper than just that. It's really heavy. It's very deep in talking about racism and systemically this country and how we view our law enforcement, things like that. So definitely some sensitivities there, but the writing is amazing. Titus is such an incredible character and the story is just wild. I can't stop listening. So that and the 3rd Dungeon Crawler Carl book, which again, I think I'm gonna make a whole video talking about this series probably, because I just don't even know where to start with it. So 2 current reads. I'm about halfway. I'm like 40% with Dungeon Crawler Carl and 53% I think done with All the Sinners Bleed. So it's perfect timing to start Shark Heart. I do also have to start Return of the King, which is book 3 of the Lord of the Rings trilogy by J.R.R. Tolkien, but that's fine. I'm fine with that. 4 reads, a fantasy, a magical-ish realism, a literary fiction that's honestly giving me horror vibes because it's so traumatic, and whatever twisted ass genres that Dungeon Crawler Carl is. I still haven't wrapped my head fully around it. I think I got too obsessed and I like blasted through books 1 and 2, and then I was like, let me just keep going with book 3, and now I've kind of lost momentum. So I've been at like between 30 and 40% for like 2 weeks. Really need to do some work on that. But otherwise, we're gonna focus on this. That's just an update on my other current reads, and I will check back hopefully soon when I have an update. Okay, bye. Hey friends, another strange lighting situation. Also, not cold enough to be wearing this hat, but it is the only New England Patriots stuff that I have, and they are playing the Jets tonight. So I've got Red Sox t-shirt and Patriots hat. I wanted to check in because I am now about halfway through Shark Heart, and it's so good, but it's so weird. So it literally is about a man who is married, newly married to his wife, Ren. His name is Lewis, and he finds out that he is undergoing a mutation and becoming a great white shark. I don't necessarily know if we're supposed to believe that this is set in a world where that is normal because there's like another character that is pregnant with bird twins, for example, that could potentially peck out of her stomach like it's an egg. So it's very fantastical. It's very magical realism, you know, because it's just so outrageous to consider a man walking around that looks like a giant great white shark. But it's really well written. I am just loving the purple prose and our characters. Ren is incredible. Lewis is incredible. Their love for each other is incredible. And I'm about halfway through and it's getting a little bit sad. So I need to finish Return of the King for the buddy read, and then I will move on to Shark Heart. I have probably 89, maybe like, yeah, 120 pages to go. No, 220. What? Funny, it's 220 pages to go. It's fine, I'm a doctor. So I don't know if I can finish it tonight, but I am annotating here and there, some tabs, and just like they have no rhyme or reason. I am just having my little heart away with whatever colors I feel like, and I'm really enjoying that. Like, listen to this. So once Lewis gets his diagnosis, he starts doing more research about the species and what he can expect, which, okay, bet. And he learns that great white sharks are able to perceive subtle electrical fields emitted by living things, and that the purpose of that is to find prey. It says, with electroreception, Lewis hoped to sense her, know her, and love her even thousands of miles away in the ocean. Nothing he read indicated that electroreception extended further than a couple yards, but maybe he thought, maybe if I practiced, I would never really have to say goodbye. When Lewis finally came to bed, he took sleeping Ren's hand in his and closed his eyes, seeing if he could sense her electrical field. What are you doing? She asked groggily. Just seeing what it's like to love you when I can't see you. I have goosebumps just even reading that. So the hype so far feels really real for this one. I'm really having a good time. It's very easy and quick to read, like I said, because so many of the chapters are like not even, you know, like this is so easy to get through. So yeah, I will hopefully pop in some B-roll. I am about to go make homemade chicken pot pie, but with biscuits on top instead, and then we gonna watch the game. And I do have the Jets defense for my fantasy football team, but again, Patriots fan. So we'll see how it goes. All right, I'll check in later. Bye. Hey guys, welcome back. It has been a few days since I've last updated this vlog because I'm filming multiple things for once in my life and I'm really confused, but I'm gonna get there. So we're here to talk about book of the month. I know that to be true. I did finish Shark Heart by Emily Habeck, and I still feel strongly that I have already done this wrap up, but I looked through my SD card on my camera real quick and I didn't see anything, so whatever, let's do it again. Okay, where to even start with this book? First of all, let's start with the fact that I tabbed it, which I'm surprised as much as you probably are at. There's no rhyme or reason, like I didn't go into this with a key or anything. I just really like this cover, and I think the colors in the shark on the flowers are gorgeous, so I just wanted to like tab to match it. I mostly just tabbed quotes that really got me. There is a heavy amount of purple prose and also poetry throughout this book. The media format is pretty interesting. Like, for example, this is the, okay. Just when you think you can't get any lower, you know, I'll get that in a second. So this chapter follows like a very normal format up until the end, and then this little bit right here of inner monologue or whatever it may be, where it's like right here is actually like a little poem. And after I finish books, I have really been enjoying, regardless of if I give it 1 star or if I give it 5 million stars, I just love to read so many reviews, bad reviews, good reviews. I'm sure all of us do that. I don't know why I think I'm the only one. And the reviews for Shark Heart, it is very true. This book is polarizing. You are either going to absolutely love it or you're gonna hate it. And you know, I say that, but I neither love nor hate it. I am just fine with it. The issue that I had with this book is that the weirdness was working for the first like 50%, and then there was a good 100 pages. And I say pages, it's not like it's pages full of text. I mean, some of the pages, I feel like I've talked about this ad nauseum showing you, but like some of the pages barely have anything on them. And then this particular section that I'm referring to was like very barren, and it was just a jarring change of pace. It followed characters you didn't know anything about, and honestly, I don't care about still, having finished the book. I don't think it added anything at all. And then it kind of took me out of it because the POV flipping is wild. Okay, so let's talk about what this book is. I'm rambling, and I hate when my hair falls out, but I particularly hate now when the silver hairs are falling out because my hair being this short again, which I finally got it to look good today after the haircut, and I'm not mad. We're doing like a little, I don't know if this is for me. Do I look like Karen? Do I look like an older haircut? Is this cool? Somebody tell me. Oh God, please be nice about it though. So anyway, my hair is, I keep cutting a little, you know, getting it. This is finally all my natural hair color. I do not heat treat. I am not dyeing it anymore. I'm done. The last time I dyed it, this was probably like my 3rd or 4th midlife crisis. I allowed a hairdresser to convince me that I could go from, my hair is very thick, it's very dark, curly, wavy, whatever. It does not like bleach at all. It doesn't fall out, it just, the curls all come out. It gets super, super dry. Curly hair tends to be drier anyway. Mine is super dry, and now living in Colorado, base level, not my elevation, I am a mile, I'm like 5,500 feet above sea level right now, but I am also in kind of like an arid climate. It's not humid here, so dry. Anywho, all the cutting is to get all that midlife crisis bleach out when I let a hairdresser convince me that in one sitting could take me from this to like, I'll put some pictures up, like that stunning silver icy gray. I love it. Yeah, anyway, I'm not gonna put pictures of what actually did happen because I'm not gonna be that open on the internet, but it was not great. So this is finally all grown out, and I don't know if you can see, turns out you just have to take a position in your career with a little bit more responsibility, move across the country a few times, sell a couple houses, buy a couple houses, and all your gray hair dreams will come true. So my grays are just coming in naturally now. So we're right where we want to be. Anyway, where was I going with this whole thing? I'm probably gonna end up cutting this out, but this was fun to get me back. I love to like tell little stories to get me feeling more like I can talk to the camera. Again, don't even know if I'm gonna leave this in, but whatever. Okay, Shark Heart is following a couple, Ren and Lewis, and they have just gotten married when Lewis finds out that he has a genetic mutation that is going to cause him to turn into a great white shark, because in whatever mystical, magical fever dream universe this book takes place in, I've hit so many lows in this video. I don't know how many more, just in this scene. I don't know how many more I can take. Hold on, I have another light. It is what it is, and it's gonna be what it's gonna be. I have wonderful natural light coming from the windows in here. The blinds that this house comes with, you just like push them up and then pull them down, and all of them are pretty much broken on all the windows. Not something that I tested when I did a walkthrough. So one of these days I'll be a real adult, but I have to replace those because they make me insane. So we're artificial lighting. Okay. The universe that this book takes place in, we are led to believe, is a place where there are genetic mutations that can cause human beings to turn into different animals. For example, Lewis is going to become a great white shark, and we do indeed follow his physical and mental transformation from a human being to a great white shark that used to be a human being. We don't follow him long enough to see any of what the book claims will be memory losses and forgetting that he was ever married to Ren. He's like not gonna remember that he was a human being. We don't even follow him long enough to see that happen, which they could have cut out that middle section and put more of him as a great white shark, and I would have been like, yep, because this started as like a 4-star. A friend of mine that I went to high school with commented on my review, which I ended up giving this 3 stars. She commented on that 3-star update on Goodreads and was like, tell me about it. I've heard on the scale of 1 to 10, how weird is it? And I gave this an 8. And the reason that I give this book an 8 is because it's super weird. Like, it is a human man turning into a great white shark. Like, it is not a metaphor. Of course it's a metaphor for, a much grander transcendence and whatnot. I'm not in college anymore, so I'm not analyzing this too heavily, but it's an 8 in weirdness because of that. And my gripe with the weirdness, the reason that it gets so weird for me is it worked in the first half. It was so weird, it was good. And then the second half got so outrageous to me with who we were following, the pivoting of characters, the introduction of characters that didn't matter, I thought, to the story, the resolution, the convenience of the ending, the conflicts between what characters said they wanted. There's also huge conflict between something that Ren says that she wants in the first half versus the second half that completely changes the entire theme of the book by the time you finish it, okay? So I think that's a pretty decent way of me telling you that this is a very interesting, weird book, kind of all over the place. Was it still a really good read? Yeah, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the language. I enjoyed the little poetry snippets. I enjoy poetry. I actually kind of made me want to read more poetry. So all of that, yeah, great. It was just the middle and the end that kind of took me all the way out of it, and I did end up giving this 3 stars. I do think I'm gonna keep it because I annotated it, and I do think it's a very beautiful cover once I wipe all the cuticle oil off of it that I have now placed upon it. But let's talk about the next book. So it is now today, September 24th, Tuesday. So I have 6 more days to finish 2 books, but I have great news, and that is I did start The Night Swim by Megan Golden. I was able to get the audiobook off Libby, so I started listening to it on my drive home. And I think, let me check the update. The update? What's wrong with you? Is this really chapter 8? 9. I hate, does that just happen to me or does that happen to you guys? The audiobook chapters don't actually match what they say. Okie doke. So I am on chapter 9, so I'm 48 pages in. This is feeling like a 340 page book is what it feels like. The acknowledgements end on 344. So really quickly, let's talk about what this book is about. I did not read The Dust Jacket at all. I had no idea. This one is from August 2020, so this is now almost a little over 4 years old. And it definitely feels that way because this is following our main character, Rachel, who is the host of a super popular true crime podcast called Guilty or Not Guilty, which I find to be the most simple, like obvious name ever, but whatever. She's like the hot thing in town. Everyone's talking about her. And I feel like around 4 years ago was definitely when true crime was like, podcast was like at the tippy top. Now you go on Spotify and you can listen to a podcast for anything, which is awesome. Please, you know what? Leave your favorite podcast down below because I've actually been thinking I'd also like to, I feel like I'm just having revelations during this update. it's been a while, guys. I'm like verbal journaling right now. I also feel like a goal of mine for next year is to try to slow down with my reading. I don't know how I'm gonna approach that. I'm gonna think about it, but I do really like podcasts. I wanna get back into puzzles. I have a puzzle board and a bunch of puzzles that I wanna do, and that can even be with an audiobook or can just be like puzzles. Crocheting, I wanna commit more time to because I feel like I just put my projects to the side and just keep picking up books and then don't think about other hobbies that I want to partake in. And I have read almost 180 books this year, and we still have, what, 3 months left in the year? That's a lot. Like, it didn't feel like a lot for me, but I also don't see a problem with like wanting to slow down and maybe think more about what I'm reading. I think what does add to my book count for the year is I do listen to a lot of audiobooks because I have anywhere from a 30 to 60 minute commute depending on Colorado traffic to and from work every day, and there's something wrong with my brain chemistry. My meds are almost right there. I listen to audiobooks at least 2.5 if not 3x, so like I go through them pretty quickly. So sometimes, like, a lot of the books that I read throughout the year is audiobooks that I just throw on because Libby has them. I want to try to just like really think about my TBRs, be a little bit more considerate of other hobbies. But getting back into podcasts, I do like true crime. I have been thinking about getting back into it. I used to be obsessed, but I had to take a break because I was living on my own when my husband was deployed, and I was like, I cannot be listening to stories about how this girl got her house broken into when her husband wasn't around. I was like, nope. So, but the meds are working well enough that I think I can tolerate that. So let me know down below what podcasts you're listening to. I like any and everything. I like self-help. I like finance. So boring, but like this economy, you had better be interested in your finances. I wish I had more, TBH. But I do enjoy things like that. Horror, I love. My favorite podcast is Werewolf Ambulance. The hosts just talk about different horror movies that they watch. Horror Daddies is also a really good one. So anything like that, leave it down below. I would love to listen to some podcasts with you guys. But anywho, this book. So Rachel is the host of a podcast, and she is currently filming her 3rd season in, I think she's in North Carolina. No, I can't tell, but I'm pretty sure she is. Somewhere in a small town. She's somewhere to make season 3. I don't know. She's somewhere. I'm pretty sure it's one of the Carolinas because they talk about hurricane season and it sounds like they're at the beach. But anyway, she is there to cover a live trial about a golden boy in the small town who is being accused and is on trial for R-wording a young girl that also lives in this community. And Rachel is here to start to finish, track the whole thing and give it to her podcast listeners. She is letting them be judge and jury, follow along, make their own decisions, derive their own opinions from the clues and the evidence that she presents to them, which is different than her previous format. Previously, in her other 2 seasons, she does actually solve cold cases. So this one is a little different. From the road trip that she took from her hometown to this place up until the 48 pages that I'm in, she has a stalker. Her name is Hannah, and we actually got Hannah's POV at the beginning following the death of her sister Jenny, which in turn ends up killing her mom in some way, shape, or form. I haven't gotten there. I don't know if she took her own life or where that, I haven't gotten there yet. But anyway, so we are seeing Rachel get these notes in places that she should not be getting notes, and also she has worked really hard for people to not know who she is, so she can go out and live her life and do her podcast and people don't know what she really looks like. This girl Hannah is not only stalking her to the point that she's like leaving the notes in places that she shouldn't be, like this random roadside diner, but she's also like leaving it in her room at the hotel now, and she's begging Rachel to solve the murder of her sister Jenny from like 25 years ago. So we're seeing Rachel so far follow this new case, this trial that's currently happening, and also we're watching her deal in her personal life with this other like kind of stalking situation. And I'm very much thinking that these 2 storylines are going to connect, and I'm actually really enjoying this so far. So I think I'm actually, I think I will bring this downstairs and try to read some physically. The audiobook is really good though, because it takes breaks from the chapters to give you snippets of Rachel's like podcast. And I do enjoy that in an audiobook. I think it's really fun. And whoever the narrators are, I've listened to before and they have lovely voices. So I think I'm gonna fly through this. And then we only have one more. And then it's gonna be October. Oh my God, I'm so excited. I hope I get some horror. Do I have any left? Oh yeah, we've got some choices. So watch, I'm gonna get like romance and like random fantasy, probably a nonfiction I didn't know was on there. So that's my update. I'm going to try to work on the night swim tonight and get some more B-roll. I don't know what my camera is doing right now. Oh, it's overheated. Oh, okay. So with that, TTYL, thank you for listening to me ramble for 24 minutes, and I will see you when I have an update. Okay, bye. Hey guys, I am back to continue updating in exactly the same spot that I think I've done all the updates for, but I just am enjoying spending more time in this room and hopefully eventually actually sitting down at this desk to edit videos instead of haphazardly doing them on my laptop on my couch. Anyway, before I start rambling all over again, let's talk about the updates. So first and foremost, I finished The Night Swim by Megan Golden, and I'm not gonna lie, I listened to the majority of this on audio. The audiobook was so good. The narrator did a great job. I think it was actually 3 different female narrators, but they did a great job representing the characters that they were representing, and I really enjoyed the podcast element, like getting the little snippets in between. Also, I literally gasped. I wish that I had recorded it, caught it on video at who the killer ended up being. It blew my mind, actually. And, you know, like there were a lot of red herrings, which I enjoy. You know, I am the type of thriller or mystery reader that I do enjoy trying to solve it along with the protagonist. And this one had me guessing until the very end. Also though, funny, the audiobook. Okay, so the town is Neapolis, North Carolina, but the audiobook, I swear they were saying Minneapolis, and I was like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, Minneapolis is on a Great Lake and it's frigid, like it's not. I'm like, what? Neapolis. So anyway, I ended up giving this 4 stars. I really enjoyed it, and I think there's a second book that follows our same podcast host, Rachel, so I would definitely read that, and I would 1000% recommend this for a thriller beach read if that is still a season for you. So good, because this takes place on a beach in North Carolina. Water vibes. It's called The Night Swim. Anyway, I don't have that much more to say about it. I really did like it though. 4 stars there. And on to the next update, which is I am also a little bit over halfway through The Chestnut Man by Søren Sveistrup. This is a very fast-paced, gruesome. It's touted as horror, but I disagree. I think this is more of a high-stakes serial killer, gruesome, like thriller. I wouldn't say it's got horror. It's got horrific elements to it, but overall I wouldn't categorize this as a horror. For me, it's more of like a serial killer thriller. But it follows two detectives that have to work together to find the Chestnut Man, who is this new serial killer in a Danish town that is murdering women that are seemingly being accused of something or other. I don't want to give too many spoilers because this is going in a direction that I really didn't expect. Like the synopsis, even if you are a reader of the synopsis, which I am not anymore, look at how short it is. So it really doesn't give you anything in the description of the book, and I really like that about it. It is also a translated work, I think, from Danish, and that's awesome. Reading more translated works. Thirst by Marina Yajuk is another translated work that I read this year that I really, really, really loved. I think Monstrilio might be translated too, which also slaps. So this is awesome. I wanted to come up and do an update before I finished it and hopefully get some B-roll, but the main reason I wanted to do an update, it is 3:20 p.m. MST, and we have our reservations at Casa Bonita tonight, so I am going to try to do a little bit of vlogging on my phone. I do not have that kind of, I just can't bring this whole ass camera. So I'm just gonna do it on my iPhone and take you guys with me. I think it's gonna be really, really fun. I'm gonna eat so many chips and salsa. Like I'm just so excited. So I think I'm gonna read a little bit more, continue watching some college football, and then I will see you at Casa Bonita. Okay, bye.
SM3? Welcome to Casa Bonita.
Hello, we're here. We made it right back where we started. Started, middle, beginning, and end. Hi. So for full transparency, it is October 1st while I am filming this, but I did indeed read all 5 of the September books in the allotted time because I don't know how many days are in a month. So I convinced myself that Sunday was September 30th and yesterday, Monday, was October 1st. Had it in my head, so no lie, my dudes, I read so much of this in such a small amount of time, and it was really good, which I'm very pumped about. So I'm gonna talk about all the books. You know what, actually, let me go backwards and then we'll talk about the Chestnut Man that I did, which I did finish. I'm pretty sure I've talked about, I don't know what that is. I'm pretty sure that I've talked about all of these except for the Chestnut Man. Hold on, I gotta, there, my microphone. I need to learn how to stop yelling at the camera because my microphone, I'm pretty sure will pick it up if I just talk in a normal volume, but I'm Greek and I don't know how to do that. So I am gonna try better, harder for you guys, because I can hear it when I'm editing that I'm being way too loud, so it's fine. Let us take a look at the whole stack. So these are the options that the spinning wheel of Book of the Month Death gave us for September, and I did finish all of them. So with ratings, rapid fire, the first book that I finished is Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid, and I ended up giving this 3 stars. The next book that I read is The Killer Across the Table. This is by John Douglas and Mark Olshaker, who John Douglas is the original, like the real life guy that they based the show Mindhunter on, which if you haven't watched it on Netflix, you should watch it, even though there's only 2 seasons and they ripped us off. This was really good. This was a nonfiction following 4 interviews that he had with serial killers that I had never heard of before, and this was really good. 4 stars. The next book that I read is Shark Heart. This is by Emily Habeck, and I wanted to love this. I think I did love it about halfway through, and then it just ended up kind of going off the rails a little bit too much for me, but I did really enjoy it still, so I gave it 3 stars. The next book that I finished is The Night Swim by Megan Golden. See, I can hear it. I'm screaming again. The next book that I read is The Night Swim by Megan Golden. This is a pretty slow burn courtroom thriller. I did really enjoy this. I listened to the majority of it on audio, and it was 4 stars. Okay, let us talk about The Chestnut Man. This is by Søren Spistrup, and this follows a serial killer named the Chestnut Man, whose calling card is leaving little dolls made out of chestnuts. Very creepy. but apparently common in Danish culture. So this is a translated work, which I really enjoyed. And I am gonna say, if you look this up, a lot of sources will tell you that it's horror, and I disagree. I think it's more of like a serial killer chasing kind of like thriller vibes, not necessarily horror. It does have some gruesome elements to it because you are following a serial killer, and the author certainly does not like hold back on that, but horror, nay. Not now, not ever. I feel like I may have talked about this too, but I really enjoyed this. I gave this 4 stars as well. I was thinking 4.5, and then the last like 25% I thought took, like, it was long-winded to get to where we got to, and I thought that the reveal, although it was enjoyable and I didn't see it coming, and I was like, wow, the more I think about it, the more I'm like, but why? You know? I don't know. Again, just probably overthinking, but I really did enjoy this, and I would definitely recommend for your fall TBR, but thriller, not horror. IMHO, in my honest opinion. So, now that we have the ratings, let's talk about what we're gonna keep. I'm keeping all of these. Is everyone applauding? I am gonna keep all of these. So nothing was lower than a 3-star, and like a 3-star has a place on my shelf, okay? So yeah, I am gonna keep Malibu Rising because, like, am I ever gonna read this again? No. But I like Taylor Jenkins Reid as an author, so I'm gonna keep it. Yeah, The Killer Across the Table I think would be like a very fun reread if Mindhunter on Netflix ever got their shit together and did season 3. I needed BTK. That wasn't fair. Okay. And this cover, and I annotated it. Yeah, we're gonna keep this. So we did it, guys. Another 5 book of the month backlist books off the gosh darn shelves. Thank you so much. If you are watching this series, if you watched this video, I hope you enjoyed it. I know that I kind of just like hung out in the library, but I just love it here. I want to spend more time here. Okay. And this is where all my books are, so it's easier than carrying them around. Again, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please consider liking it because it will get my channel out to more people so we can talk more books. And please consider subscribing to my channel. I really want to try in 2025 to be putting out a video a week, but if you like a fun surprise twice a month, that's where we're at right now. So I will see you guys in the next video, and happy reading. Okay, bye!